Hello, everyone. I'm Omar Aftab, VP of Conversational AI and Copilot Studio here at Microsoft. And we're going to spend the next 45 minutes talking about what's new with Copilot Studio. But before I get started, I'm going to touch briefly on something I talk to so many customers about. What does it actually take to build an enterprise agent? Well, at the heart of it, you just need to call an LLM, right? And then you need to take that LLM's response and bind it to a user channel. And then, to make it actually useful, you need to ground it on your enterprise data, wherever it is, with whatever ACLs and permissions it has, and whichever dozens of systems it's scattered across. And then, to make it more than just answers, you need to give it access to tools so it can act on your behalf. So you need to add support for MCP, connectors, automation workflows, custom prompts, and whatnot. And then, to make sure it's not just sitting around and only working when you're talking to it or asking it to, you want it to be triggered by events behind the scenes. And now, you also need an orchestration stack to help orchestrate across all these different capabilities, map all these tools and models and ground them. And then, as you get more sophisticated, you will have multiple such agents, all working together in tandem, calling each other. You could have a shopping agent, which calls a credit card processing agent, for example, to make the actual payment. And that's just the beginning. Now you need to host all of this, get analytics on it, run evaluations on it to make sure that it gives the expected responses. Make sure your admins can govern and admin it, manage its lifecycle, secure it, and make sure you're meeting responsible AI standards. And of course, continually improve it and iterate on it as new RAG techniques, new models, new capabilities are released. Or you can just use Copilot Studio, which does all of these things and more. It's your single end-to-end SaaS tool for building, managing, evaluating, governing agents, and that's why so many of our customers use it today. And as a brief reminder of what Copilot Studio does, let's look at this video. Well, apparently we're not going to look at the video because it's not allowed. No? Can someone play the video, perhaps? Let my cry come unto thee.
Copilot Studio. Here's a quick tour of Copilot Studio, the place to build AI agents with natural language. Let's start with the homepage. To build your own agent, type in what you'd like it to do and let Copilot Studio build the agent for you. With knowledge, you can add data sources for the agent to use, like websites, files, or third-party data, with over 1,500 connectors available. Now let's give our agent tools. The Model Context Protocol connects Copilot Studio directly to your existing knowledge servers and data sources, so it's easier for you to build robust agents. Use prompts when you want to give your agent specific capabilities, like using AI to process text, images, or documents. And if you want your agent to complete a set of tasks or processes, use agent flows so it can follow a series of actions. With triggers, you can choose from the 50+ triggers that prompt an agent to complete a process on your behalf, depending on what you want to do. And that's not all. With connected agents, you can even connect multiple agents so that they work together to complete processes more effectively. Once you've built an agent, test it to see if it's working, publish it to your channels, and use analytics to see how it's performing. Build agents that work for you with Copilot Studio.
Great. So now let's talk about how customers are actually using Copilot Studio in practice. More than 230,000 companies have used Copilot Studio to build agents, with 90% of the Fortune 500 building agents with Copilot Studio today. Virgin Atlantic is building agents to help customers with their flights. PwC is building agents to manage lead generation. The NHS has agents helping with insurance claims and more. One such customer is Hertz. Hertz has various agentic investments, including the roadside assistance agent from Hertz, an agent to help frontline workers support customers calling with vehicle issues, grounded on vehicle manuals and troubleshooting information. But they have a lot more, building a complete employee solution, including agentic capabilities, as part of their full transformation for Hertz employees. I'd like to invite Zac from Hertz to join us on stage and share more.
Thank you, Omar.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hello, everybody. So, a few months ago, we got together with our CIO, and he asked us to look for an employee app for all our employees, especially the ones on the field. And we went looking for some SaaS providers out there. We went looking with what options we had. But first and foremost, we needed to know what are the things that we are bringing to our employees on the field. That there is the list of all the things that our field employees, hourly employees, have to do on a daily basis or have to use, and each one of them is a SaaS provider. Full disclosure, legal and comms didn't allow me to put the SaaS provider next to each one of those entries, but as you can imagine, you have to handle and you have to deal with all of them. So the idea for us was to centralize everything in one place using Power Platforms and using Copilot. So I'm going to go directly and jump into the video. Hopefully this one plays. So if we go back to all the things that we had to do there for our employees, as you can see, each one of those functionalities that we put together on the application went from time tracking, task assignment, some of it was just verbal communication, there was no science behind it, scheduling, communications, IT ticketing, and my favorite was the walkie-talkie. Right now, anyone that has field employees, if you're using the walkie-talkie, everybody's on the same channel, you cannot slice and dice the conversation, and you have to wait while the mechanics finish, from the cleaners, from the fleet management. With the walkie-talkie functionality within the application, you're able to create different groups, and each one of these groups allows you to have a unique conversation. So management can have a conversation with only management, and if they wanted to add mechanics, they can go and add mechanics. That allowed us to also do some cost savings initiatives because we could get rid of all the walkie-talkies, but not only cost saving initiative, it also became a better eNPS for our employees, that they didn't have to talk over each other. So here is how the dashboard looks like. All of this is built within apps, within Teams. So our employees, they download just the app within their own phone. They bring their own device. We are not forcing our employees to do it. It's more of a functionality that helps them. And as you can see, we go from corporate communication, all the documents, walkie-talkie. You can send praise. You can have chat and calling directly with your peers on the spot, where historically, if we had to do this separately, you will have to go to my benefits, you have to go to my incentives, you have to open different links, different websites to do each one of those functionalities. On the Viva Engage, in the past, our management had to go and do a stand-up call or a stand-up meeting in front of all employees and share with them the news. Now, post-launch, on August 7th, the engagement went up 397%. For the first time, we were reaching employees that they didn't hear about the news that came from corporate. And everybody knows the importance of the communication between corporate and the field, but not only that, also the field to corporate. We reached out 11K Viva Engage. The biggest one was Pets for Hertz. Everyone was able to show their pet. Everybody had love, and there's groups. And my favorite from all of them, I'm originally from Spain, so I know that the sense of community is very important for certain regions in this world. And what it allowed is employees that work in Kansas, when they are traveling to Spain, they can reach out to an employee that works for Hertz, ping them, talk with them, and it gives that sense of community. It puts them together and skyrocketed our eNPS, which is a great story for all of us. The implementation, we did it in 3 milestones. First, we wanted to do just the Copilot. After the Copilot, we went to a whole region, the East region. After that, we deployed it across the nation and US and Canada. And next will be to go to EMEA and APAC. Last but not least, our internal ops communication, for the first time, we're able to target specific messaging to specific audience. Like if we have a hurricane in Florida, we don't have to send and broadcast an email to everyone. We can slice and dice the population to only Florida. We can check on them. They can send that feedback back immediately, and we know our employees are safe out there. Back to Omar.
Thank you. So a great example, actually, I wanted to add a little bit of color to that. So the applications that you can build, employee-based applications, employee-facing experiences, they're all powered by Copilot. They all need to be customized with Copilot Studio. So if you want to ground your knowledge, you want to ground tools, you want to ground actions, you want to do all of those things that you just saw with benefits, with applying to leave, with applying to all of those things. All of those workflows get built in Copilot Studio and then can be exposed or wrapped in any kind of application that you want. So now Copilot Studio comes, as you know, in 2 flavors. Our simple agent builder that's embedded inside of Microsoft Copilot for information workers, and our full enterprise agent building tool that helps you build enterprise-grade agents. So let's begin our review with what's new for information workers using agents inside of M365 Copilot. And the first thing you'll notice is a revamped agent creation experience where end users can be actively guided through adding things like the right knowledge and actions. And you can now easily copy and graduate your agents from Agent Builder to the full ProMaker suite in Copilot Studio, where you can add all the advanced capabilities you need to build full-fledged enterprise agents like you saw with Hertz. What's more, these productivity agents now have common office skills. So they can actually generate Word or Excel documents or even write snippets of code. And this greatly increases the types of scenarios that your agents can assist end users with. And these agents can now also use a wider variety of knowledge, from data in Teams meetings, OneNote, your own personal emails. You can connect to a variety of new know sources, such as Google Drive, ADO, GitHub, and more. And the agents you build now show up inside of Office applications. So not just in M365 chat. You can interact with them in the flow of your work. So you can have an agent create a document, and then you can continue chatting with it inside of Word as you iterate over the document. So you have it over your shoulder, you can keep going back and forth with it. And finally, users can now simply chat with the new Workflows agent inside of M365 Copilot to automate all their daily tasks. For example, I might bring up the Workflows agent and say, send me a weekly status report on all projects tracked in SharePoint. And the agent will then ask me the right follow-up questions and guide me to create a completed workflow that will run on my behalf every week. So to make this a bit more real, I'm going to ask Michael Chow and my team to come up and give us a super quick glimpse at some of this. Michael?
Thank you, Omar.
Good luck.
All right, enough decks. Let's do some live demo. In the demo today, I'm going to be role-playing a little bit to be a product manager who is working on a new drone launch project. And to save us time, because I was told I really only have 45 minutes today for this session here, I've already gone ahead and pre-created an agent, as you guys can see in my screen here, and asked it to generate executive summary for me. So as we make progress on the project, I can keep my leadership informed on how we're doing on it. Here we can see that the agent did a pretty good job. It came back with a very professional, concise summary grounded by the knowledge I've given to it. And normally, I would consider this to be a very good first draft. So I would probably copy the information here, put it into Microsoft Word, so I can give in some of my manual edits to make the summary ready to go to my leadership. But in this case, I'm actually just going to go ahead and ask the agent to generate a Word doc for me. With the new Agent Office skill, agents can now directly generate Word, Excel, and PowerPoint document. So let's go ahead and see what this agent has in store for us. I'm going to go ahead and download this document that it generated and open in Microsoft Word. And here on the screen, we can see that it did copy all the information that it provided me in the chat. And of course, I can go ahead and start manually editing this document, just like I could do in any document inside of Microsoft Word. But as I go through this content, I'm noticing that it is really missing a critical section, which is to provide my leadership an update on the budget spending. The best part is now I can directly access Copilot inside of Microsoft Word. And by using agent mode, I can actually use the same agent that we were just using earlier instead of M365 Copilot to assist me to pull this budget information. I'm going to go ahead and ask the agent to give me a section to update on our budget spendings. And because it's the same agent that I was using earlier, it is still grounded by the same enterprise knowledge focusing on the drone project. And here, we can see it within just seconds, I have an agent following the instruction and the knowledge I give to it, generating a really good response for me. And to put it into my Word document, all I need is a single click of Add to Doc, and now I have a budget tracking section right inside of Microsoft Word, saving me tons of time throughout this process. So, with the new Agent Office skill, and with the Office agent mode, agents can truly now make me more productive no matter where I'm working. And the best part is, to build an agent like this, any information worker can easily do it with just minutes inside of the Microsoft 365 Copilot Agent Builder here. But before I leave today, I want to push our boundary a little bit forward. What if I want this agent to be more sophisticated? What if, say, for example, I want this agent to actually be able to connect to a proprietary backend system that tracks our latest test flight? So as I generate these executive summaries, I can provide this information to my leadership as well. Well, I'm really, really excited to share here for the first time in this conference today to show that you can now seamlessly copy any agents you have in Agent Builder into the full Copilot Studio experience. This will now allow you to seamlessly access the full ProMaker tool suite and helping you make your agent more advanced without needing to start from scratch. We hope you guys are excited for the announcement we have today, and we can't wait to hear how your agents will make you more productive. And with that, back to you, Omar.
Thank you, buddy. OK, so let's talk about switch gears and talk about enterprises and how they use the full Copilot Studio suite to build agents and agentic workflows. So the first major investment we've made here is in our Answers platform. And one of the core benefits of Copilot Studio is that it's a SaaS product. So it's continually improving with the latest state-of-the-art techniques. We have spent months redefining our RAG pipeline, and now agents can iterate over your data to get the most relevant content for a query. And this improves response quality dramatically. For example, we've seen a 20 points improvement in answer quality on SharePoint alone. And you can see the difference for yourself in this screenshot here. On the left, you see an agent that's grounded on a large set of medical PDF files in the SharePoint folder. And the agent gives a generic and rather wishy-washy answer. And now, on the same folder with the same set of files, you get a complete, accurate, succinct answer. And all you had to do to achieve this improvement was go to sleep and wake up the next day. And that's the power of the SaaS. As the state-of-the-art improves, things improve automatically for our customers. We have teams of hundreds of data scientists continuously shipping the latest industry techniques, improving the RAG pipelines and connectors. So every single week, the system just gets better and better. And of course, we've added new knowledge sources, the usual enhancements, new maker controls for graph connectors, and so on and so forth. But one thing we've done is give all of our agents some tools out of the box. Each agent now has a code interpreter tool, which allows the agent to dynamically generate code to reason over structured data, like tables or Excel files or that sort of thing. And agents now also have a computer use tool to interact with websites or desktop applications on PCs to get access to data and take actions that would otherwise not be available to them. Let's have a look at how using these tools makes every agent smarter.
Here I have an Excel file which has healthcare data from the state of California, which lists number of claims, illnesses, etc. I can ask two agents, one with the ability to generate and use code, and one without, to provide a line graph of diabetes patients year over year for Riverside County. And you can see the result. The agent on the left gives a verbose and largely irrelevant answer, while the one on the right uses its new code interpreter tool to generate the right code, extract the appropriate data from the various files, and execute that code to generate the requested chart. I can even upload documents in my chat and ask questions that are not present verbatim in the provided data. For example, this PDF doesn't provide a % breakup of the revenue. But if I ask, what's my revenue share from premiums? The agent will generate the right code to do the necessary calculations and provide the correct answer.
Awesome.
Computer use gives agents you build with Copilot Studio a computer, so they can take action on websites and applications that don't have APIs, just like this invoice management app here. In this demo, we're building an agent that processes invoices received via email and enters them into the desktop invoice management app. Here's the agent we're building in Copilot Studio. Every time a new invoice email arrives, the agent will trigger, use computer use to register the invoice on the desktop app, and then send a confirmation back to the customer. Let's zoom in on the computer use tool. Configuring it is simple. All I need to do is provide natural language instructions, as if I were explaining the task to a colleague. Now let's test it with a sample invoice. Computer use boots a machine in the cloud and starts following the instructions I defined. It uses vision to operate the computer, so it can dismiss pop-ups like this one, find the right menus, and move through the form fields using a virtual mouse and keyboard to complete the registration. Computer use can run wherever you need it, on the default hosted browser machine that comes out of the box with Copilot Studio, on a Windows 365 machine, or on any Windows device you manage. The test looks good, so I'm ready to publish my agent. From now on, it will run autonomously every time a new invoice is received. When I want to review what happened, I can go to the activity section and see the details of each run, including a playback of what computer use did on the computer and a step-by-step breakdown.
So you can see how powerful that is. If you don't have APIs, if you don't have access, if you just have some legacy line of business app, the agent can still use it. Your agent can do everything you can do on your laptop, just like you do, with a mouse and a keyboard interacting with existing UX. Next, we have a set of new capabilities to help makers better understand their production traffic with analytics, as well as run custom evaluations to assess their agents. You can now easily see the kinds of questions users are asking your agents in production, clustered together semantically. So you can see at a glance that you get a lot of questions about your Thanksgiving hours, and that most of the time the answers the agent is giving is wrong. And you can see which knowledge source these incorrect answers are coming from. So you can quickly go and update it because you've changed your Thanksgiving hours. You can also see the amount you're paying for all of your usage, get an estimate of the savings the bot is generating for you and what your ROI is. Let's see a demo of all of this in action.
With the new themes feature, you can quickly uncover what users are asking and how well each type of question is handled. For example, in an employee self-service agent, most questions cluster around benefits, onboarding, and vacations. But the vacations and leave request theme isn't doing so well. Response rates are low and customer satisfaction is lagging. Themes let you drill down to see the actual user questions, the agent's responses, and the feedback users leave behind. You can also break it down by knowledge source. In this case, the vacation policy source stands out as a weak spot with poor response quality and high dissatisfaction. So we'll switch to the updated 2025 vacation policy to improve accuracy and increase trust. For executives, ROI matters. Analytics now helps quantify business impact. The savings feature calculates time and cost savings for both autonomous and conversational agents. You can configure it to reflect your scenarios and measure the real value your agents deliver. Pair that with consumption analysis, and you'll know whether your agent is efficient. Track credit usage over time, see splits by event type, and check if you're staying within monthly limits. Combine savings and consumption, and you've got a full view of ROI.
Beyond getting insights over production usage, makers can now build sophisticated evaluations for their agents directly inside of Copilot Studio. They can upload their own eval files, let AI generate new queries from bot knowledge and topics, or just create their own custom queries manually. This is an incredibly important capability for anyone building enterprise AI agents. How do you know your agent is fit for use? How do you know it hasn't regressed? Through evaluations. I'm going to ask Rafi to come up and give us a demo. Rafi?
All right, it's never been easier to build an agent. But the real question is, how do we know it's actually a good agent? This is where agent evaluation comes in. It lets makers simulate real user interactions at scale. So instead of guessing, they can actually measure quality. This approach ensures consistency and reliability throughout the agent lifecycle, from building and testing to production. Now, evaluation begins with one key step, creating a question set. They want to show you two super easy ways to do it. If I don't have test cases, I can just generate them with AI. One click creates list of user questions based on the agent description, knowledge, and topics. And if I already have my own data set, I can just upload it instead. Now we choose how to score the agent answers. And I have different levels of strictness depending on what we need. We can start with the general AI quality score. If we just want an overall, how good is this signal? Measure similarity to see how close the answer is to the ideal response, or go all the way to an exact match when we need full confidence that the agent producing the precise expected response. Once we run the evaluation, the system plays through every question, just like a real conversation. And here is the result. All right, each test case gets a clear pass or fail status, a score, and even a detailed feedback on why it failed or why it passed. So instead of trying to debug blindly, makers instantly see where the agent struggled and what needs to be improved. And here is my favorite part. You can now compare multiple runs side by side. That means that we can A/B test models, prompts, versions, or any configuration changes, and actually prove what got better. So in just a few clicks, we've gone from building an agent to proving its quality and having a clear path to improve it. And just imagine what's next. Automated evaluations running like regression tests, alerts when scores dip, test sets built from production data, and ongoing improvement based on user feedback and annotation, all coming soon. Back to you, Omar.
Thank you, Rafi. Great. Okay. So our next major set of capabilities are around model choice. You now have the ability to choose AI models from multiple providers, all within a single solution. This gives makers a tremendous amount of flexibility to always use the right AI model for the right task, from OpenAI models to Anthropic and more. Different AI models obviously have different strengths. For example, Claude Sonnet 4 is particularly strong at complex reasoning and analytics tasks. You can even create multiple agents each using different models, and then easily combine them into one common multi-agent story. And what's more, the latest models are now available in Copilot Studio at the same time they are launched by OpenAI and Anthropic. I have a pretty exciting demo for you that shows how all of this comes together. Ami?
Thank you, Omar. All right, so let's look at what Copilot Studio can do with the latest models, MCP server integration, and connected agents. We're designing an agent for Contoso wealth management advisors to meet their clients' needs. Every morning, this agent goes through the client's profiles, goals, notes, anything, and figures out how can the advisor help them better, what are the next steps they need to take, creates an email with recommendations and the next steps, sends it out to the advisor even before they start their day. In this scenario, we're going to take an example of a client who wants to restrict their exposure of Microsoft stocks in their portfolio to 5% or lower. They're Microsoft employee, they've got plenty in their compensation. Copilot Studio, as Omar just mentioned, brings the latest models from OpenAI and Anthropic the same day that they are released externally. For this scenario, I'm going to pick Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 4.5 because it excels in financial analysis and tool calling. Speaking of which, I'm going to give this agent a couple tools. This one here brings the client's portfolio from our system of record. And this one is an Outlook connector, which enables the agent to send out an email to our advisors. And last but not the least, we have an MCP server from Morningstar, which provides real live market data around the client's portfolio to this agent, along with all of these amazing tools from Morningstar. So let's see this agent in action. On the right-hand side, we see the chain of thoughts from the model. On left-hand side, we're going to see all the systems that this agent is integrating with. Like I mentioned, it brings the client's portfolio, so it just did that from our system of records. It is now connected to Morningstar, and it is bringing real live, this is live, so it is bringing real live market data around our client's portfolio. And it figured, it's interesting to note that it figured this has got some index funds as well, which means that the Microsoft stock exposure is both direct and indirect. And what it's trying to do is calculate both of them and run some financial analysis to figure out what the overall Microsoft exposure is. And it just did that and figured that the exposure is 12.78%, while the guidance is around 5%. So it figures that advisors need to take some action. It is putting together an email with all of this analysis and the recommended actions, and it's going to send it out autonomously without the advisor even having to raise a finger, with everything ready in their mailbox when they log in the morning. So it's right now putting it together into the email report, and great timing. Let's check our Outlook to see if we got that email. Looks like we did, and it has beautifully summarized the analysis with action required to rebalance our client's portfolio. All of this analysis is very structured and put together in this AI-generated email. Mind you, this is completely autonomous, done just by AI. Isn't it amazing? But wait a sec, we can make this agent even better by connecting a bunch of specialist agents or sub-agents. These agents work on models which are trained to and specialized to do a certain task brilliantly. These sub-agents could be built on Azure AI Foundry or M365 Agent SDK. They could also be external agents which are connected with A2A or MCP. In this scenario, I'm going to use a couple of these specialist agents to take this even further and make our advisor's life even easier. So the first thing I'm doing is using a sub-agent to get the client's portfolio again, because we're going to take more actions. The second sub-agent, which is critical here, is the agent which is actually placing a trade order to rebalance the portfolio based on the recommendations that we just saw. So this agent will create an order and then run through an approval workflow as defined here. Because this is a financial transaction and it requires a human in loop, it'll build the approval note, and then it'll send it through our Teams connector to my Teams, and you heard the ping here, which is asking me for an approval. So I'm going to approve this activity because it is legit. And then once I do that, it is going to run through the rest of the flow, executing the order. It gets a confirmation of order having executed, puts across an email confirming to our advisor that the task has indeed been done, and sends this email across, which looks something like this. So this agent has actually executed, leveraging AI, the entire workflow end-to-end, automating most of the stuff except for the human approval, using all AI, using all of our latest capabilities, which is MCP server integration, latest models, workflows, and connected agents. And all of these features are live in production. I can't wait for you all to build amazing agents to meet your organization's goals as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ami. Great. So, finally, Copilot Studio not only brings together all of these capabilities that you've seen, it also allows admins to effectively govern and manage these agents. This is a key strength of the Copilot Studio platform. We're continuing to light up various core governance capabilities, from inventory for agents to advanced admin capabilities and controls, billing policy capabilities, and more. First up, we now offer an enhanced admin experience to help admins get started with agents in Copilot Studio. This is the new place that you can go to see what's new, turn on and off the Gen AI settings, track the adoption costs and ROI, and more. If you're an admin, go check it out. And admins also need visibility into what's getting built, shared, and used, because you can't really govern what you can't see. The new inventory page offers visibility to all the agents in the tenant. So MSIT, for example, has 1.6 million assets across apps, flows, and agents, and they can now see and manage all of them in this new experience. We also have a host of new controls that allow you to basically create personal workspaces for makers and configure guardrails that allow makers to build while you as an admin can still sleep well at night. You have more control here than any other platform to govern agent adoption at scale. And of course, a key part of governance is also managing costs. Our new experience here allows you to see what users and agents are costing you, place capacity limits, charge back your departments, flexibly handle usage spikes with pay-as-you-go, and all these other capabilities. But I want to end with a bit of an exciting announcement. So there's a brand new capability you'll hear a bunch about Ignite, Agent 365. Agents can now have their own identity, their own alias in the organization. And this means that they have their own email inbox where they can receive and reply to emails. You can look them up in the address book and add them into a Teams chat, just like any other colleague. You can even, you're editing a Word doc, you can mention them just like anyone else. And they will respond to your comment. This is a lot more than identity. I've seen the other sessions and they talk about identity, but this is a lot more than identity. This fundamentally changes how we all interact with agents in our day-to-day lives. You can just send them an email, you can chat with them, you can pull them into a meeting. This, just like you do with any other colleague. And I'm going to ask Mads on my team to come up and give us a demo of this exciting future. Mads.
All righty. So as Omar mentioned, now that these agents can have their own identities, you can interact them with just like another human employee. So if we go, for example, into Teams chat, we can see, of course, a bunch of other users, other colleagues, but I can also see my agents. Now, this is an agent that helps me do budgeting. It helped me plan for Ignite. And what you're seeing here isn't necessarily all that new. It's basic RAG. I can ask it a question like, is it too late to buy tickets? And of course, it's going to say, no, the conference has already started. This isn't new. But if we start looking at this particular agent and hovering over it, it now has a people card. It even has its own email address, which we're going to use in a bit as part of this demo. So it's still thinking about whether or not it's too late to buy tickets, but let's go to a real scenario where this agent can actually help us do real work. So I have here a Word document that conveniently is not loaded, so we're going to go ahead and refresh that. And this document is a statement of work of improving some of the LLM descriptions in our actions so that we can make them better. And I need help getting funding for this proposal from vendors. Now, what I can do, which is new, is I can share this document with the agent. This is different. Previously, agents had access to all of your documents, which can be a bit scary, but now I only give the agent the documents I want it to have access to. So I can ask it, summarize this doc and tell me if it will be auto-approved. So I'm going to go ahead and share this link, paste it in. And because I've shared this document with this agent, it can pull it up. And because I built it inside of Copilot Studio, it also has access to all of the knowledge that I gave it. So if we go to this knowledge tab, we can see that there's a PDF on all the Ignite information. That's how it answered those budgeting questions. And policies around vendor funding. So I purposely made sure that this proposal would not be approved because it's way too expensive. Right? And we can see that the agent was able to use information that I shared with it and the built-in knowledge to tell me so. And it's going to require a policy exception. Now, I could go ahead and start my own policy exception, but why should I? I can now ask this agent to do this work for me. Please create a Word doc for the exception. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. It's going to think. And what's new with this A365 integration is we've also added some tools that allow it to do real work with its identity. So for example, in order for it to write a Word document, there's now a Word MCP server. We can go back and see it's created a document. It's even given us a link. We can go ahead and open it. Oh, wow, this is a live issue. This is proof, actually. This is actually a good error. This is actually proof. Please share it with 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 that it's being created from the agent's own drive, and it needs to actually share it with me and other users for me to be able to access it. So while it's thinking about that, we'll go ahead and go to the second part of the demo, which is I want to make sure that this agent can receive additional information on how to make this proposal as great as it can. Now, thankfully, my boss, Omar, has this email describing just how important it is for these descriptions to be better. If they were better, maybe this agent would have shared it with me more effectively. I'm going to go ahead, instead of just copying and pasting into the chat, I can forward it directly to this agent. And as Omar mentioned, I can pull up this agent, see its email address directly inside of Word. And I can ask it, please create a new version of the exception using these details. And we can go ahead and send it off. Now, it takes a while for it to read all this email and reply back and create a new document. So I want to just show you kind of what I had it do previously and just save us some time. It pulled in all the information from both the documents from earlier and Omar's email. And my favorite feature about giving these agents identities is that I can even mention them inside of documents. I'm not having to constantly go back to Teams or go to my chat application to interact with this agent. I can bring the agent directly into my Microsoft 365 documents. Here, I asked it for some citations, and it was able to give me that information. Now, if you want to get started today, we have a code-first sample on how you can plug and play, test all this stuff out. But I know a lot of you want to be able to use Copilot Studio because it's low code. And so at the end of this year, what we're going to be providing you is an experience where you can go into Copilot Studio and in the Channels tab, publish this as an agent with user accounts. You'll be able to go into Teams and Microsoft 365. There'll be a new option for you. You'll be able to choose the old way, which uses the current users, active users account, or the new way, where it uses the agent's account. You can review it and then submit it to your admin for approval. And that's to make sure your admins always have control over the entire process. And once you're done, you'll be able to see the agent inside of Agent 365, inside of the Microsoft Admin Center. This is the agent that I've been working with, Budget Advisor, where I, as an admin, can see all the details. And with that, if we can actually see the agent sharing some of these documents with me, I can open it up and see all the work that it had done previously. So it actually worked, y'all. It worked. And with that, I'm going to pass things back off to Omar. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. That's why it's sort of an undersell to talk about identity. It's really, yes, it's technically identity. But what you're doing is you are actually interacting with agents exactly the same way as you would interact with anyone else. You want to chat with them, you'll chat with them. You want to email them, you'll email them. When you want to share a document with them, you'll share a document with them. You're not going to train all of humanity a new way to interact with these things. They're just going to behave just like any other entity. So there you have it. That was just a glimpse of some of the new capabilities we're adding to MCS. Thank you for joining our session today. If you want to learn more about any of the things I talked about, we have a host of Copilot Studio sessions for the remainder of the conference. Please check them out, attend some of our workshops, or come by our booth to learn more. Thank you, and happy agent building.